Welcome back, everyone, to Rivvibe with River. And today, as a reminder, I want to remind you all of what my goal is for this channel. That all of you would become hyper aware of the power within you that is in your subconscious. And with that being said, I want you all to, I think you're going to enjoy this episode today because it is going to be covering a lot of topics as a metaphor of how the subconscious mind works in tune, kind of like an atom does, how we vibrate and everything very similarly to an atom. So I've been thinking about this for a while, and this episode is atoms in our subconscious and how a metaphor of personal transformation and vibration. It's not that I'm like a super physics inclined person, but for some reason I've always been very amazed at the thoughts of how everything comes together. You know, what makes things click, what makes things not click, what makes things work, what makes things repel, etc. And so today I want to start by sharing this that it took me a while to put it together, but it's about the atom and the subconscious and how it is a metaphor for personal transformation. But you know, I wanted to, and I'll give you the notes. So I want to start with number one, this part here, and this is what I wanted to talk about is how we are like atoms and we also have a core, but our core is the subconscious. And that's our core. The atom, and this is from just doing a little bit of research, but I've always stuff since high school, right? But it's always intrigued me how the number of protons in an atom determine what element it is, right? There's an atomic table, right? So it's determined by the protons, whether it's an oxygen atom, a hydrogen atom, a gold, silver atom, whatever. So the only way to change either remove a proton or add a proton, changing the core of this atom, at what it is at its core, would be through either put it through a nuclear reactor or something that would happen in an environment like the sun. And so that always intrigued me, just knowing that. And I'm like, how about us, as people? Because everything vibrates, everything is energy. So how do we as people function to attract things to us? Because I've experienced many things that attract things to me and repel things from me. And I'm sure you have too. So I think as I go through this metaphor, something you can visualize and put together for yourself to see how, this actually is a lot how stuff works. So we have a core, like I was saying earlier, and we have our core, right? And personal transformation, it's not easy, man. People think it's just like something glamorous. You just go and just like, I'm going to go and, meditate or whatever. It's not that easy. It's a lot of painful experiences, actually. Removing. Now, it's not that it has to be hard. So I don't want you to think it has to be difficult. It's not that it has to be hard, but it has to be a choice. And sometimes to make that choice, you're going to see things you didn't know you had. You're going to see things you didn't know were going to bother you and things that hurt. But it is in that pain and the feeling the emotion through doing hypnotherapy. A lot of times I notice that we have to experience that thing, that emotion that we don't know what to call it, but yet it's there within us. And only in that moment of experiencing, not that it has to be painful, because your subconscious will show you in a way that allow you to release it. So that is the thing about going within. When we go within, we change our core, right? And changing the core of ourselves is like an atom changing its core, the number of protons it has to becoming from a bronze atom, a copper atom, to a gold atom, right? So it really comes down to changing the core. We also have to change our core. So I want that to start to work within you and start seeing that, because this will probably help you see how things relate to one another. Another thing is that, what do atoms have? They have electrons, so number two, they have electrons, and electrons move around like in a cloud of energy. They dictate how atoms bond with one another and how they share and exchange energy. So as these electrons are either gained, lost, or shared, they that's the way our personal vibration is. So when we change our core, we change our vibration. Similarly, how different atoms have different electrons, and we that way determine what we attract to ourselves. So we are a lot like atoms. The more you study this, the more you're like, wait a minute, it's just like the micro, you know what I mean, of who we are, and our personal vibration and energy we give off is through thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Now, much like the higher or more positive our energy, we are giving that energy off, other atoms, people will also notice our energy and attract to us. That's why when you go through this thing of personal transformation, you're going to notice that you start to lose a lot of friends that were your friends. Not that they're bad people. You just simply no longer vibrate at the same level. And you start to, it gets a little lonely at first, but then you start to find your comfort zone as to who you are and what kind of atom you are / what kind of person you are. And you'll notice the changes that were made and how you start to feel. So the energy gaining, losing, or sharing in relationships is very important, because just how we lose or gain, an atom will lose or gain or share electrons, we also lose, gain, or share our vibration with people. I'm sure you've all experienced it. We've all experienced it. Maybe we've been that person, right? Where we are energy vampires, right? We take energy from people, right? Leaving them dry, or they leave us pretty dry. After hanging out for one day, you're like, whoa, I can only handle so much of this person, and they suck the life out of me. Well, similarly, like atoms, maybe they took some of our electrons, right? So I feel that it's something that just, we need to draw close. We not even need to. We would just automatically start drawing close to those that are closest to us in vibration. You know what I mean? So these are things, something that I want you to look at, and I'll get into it a little bit more. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about in this is the fact that you should take things personal, and that's not personal like get offended, not like that. I mean personal in who you are, because I'll give you an example. I was speaking to a friend. This is very deep, actually, and I'll share with you because I always believe in having proof. For some reason, a lot of people just tell stories, but I want to make sure I have some proof so that it doesn't come off as if I just made it up. But I had a friend that she lost her job, and she called me one day, and she's like, "Hey, River, how you doing? What's going?" And we're talking. She goes, "I don't know what to do. I lost my job. It was somewhere towards the middle end of the month, maybe the 20s. And she goes, I lost my job, and I don't know what I'm gonna do to pay rent." She goes, "I have money, but I don't have enough." And you could hear it in her voice. She was very sad, as anyone would be, right? Any one of us would be. And so what's interesting is that I I was sharing with her something for her to imagine. And I said to her, I go, listen, what if, and this is really, really cool. What if you had, and I'm sharing this with you as well. So just picture what I'm sharing with her on the phone, okay? I'm like, what if you had a rich uncle? And this rich uncle, you call him in the morning, you said, and let's say it's the 30th of the month. And it wasn't the 30th, but I said, let's just say it's the 30th of the month. You said, Uncle, I don't have any money to pay the rent. I lost my job. But your rich uncle's a multi-millionaire. So it's no big deal. And he tells you, honey, I'm so glad you called. And it's funny that you called me because this morning I put a check for $10,000 in the mail to you. So that's funny you're calling me with this because I woke up in the morning wanting to send you a check. So I send you a check for $10,000. I asked my friend, would you be worried about the rent, knowing that it's the 30th of the month and your uncle just told you, you know he's a multi-millionaire, and he's told you he just sent you a check. Would you be worried? She said, no. Awesome. So let's continue. Let's say now it's the 3rd of the month. There's still no, in the morning you go check, but obviously the mailman hasn't come yet. You're like, maybe there's a check somewhere. There is no check yet. Would you be worried? She's like, she goes, well, what if I'd be maybe a little concerned that maybe they put the check somewhere else? Okay, that's fair. And I told her, I go, now what if it's 3 p.m., 4 p.m. in the afternoon? It's 4 p.m., whatever. And you go and the mailman is putting the mail in your mailbox and you look and you see that there's a check in the mailbox. And this is from your uncle. You know that's the check. You open up the envelope and boom, there is the check for $10,000. Now, you need to run to the bank before it's 5 o'clock to deposit that check. Well, you get to the bank. You're happy now, right? You get to the bank and the bank tells you, oh, because it's $10,000, we're going to have to put a 5-day hold on this check. Would you be worried about the late fees now? Would you be worried about the late fees you're going to get for paying late? She said, no. You would feel relieved, right? She goes, absolutely, I would be relieved. And I was telling her this story, getting so excited, like as if it really, really was happening, right? And I remember she was like, but River, how is this going to help me? How is this story going to help me? And I was like, you need to feel that excitement, the excitement of your rich uncle sending you a check, because the universe, in a way, in a sense, is that, right? It knows where to connect you to get you anything. And if there's one thing about this channel that I want to get through to everyone, is that we're all connected. And I couldn't think of a better way to describe this than atoms, which is why this episode is being made. So now, as I shared this story, something cool happened, right? And I said, let me see if I could, if I have it. Here we go. So that same morning, as when she was talking to me, this came up. So you can see it. Let's see. There we go. The next morning, I get this email. I wake up to this. Hey, Jose. I have those of you that don't know, the nickname is River, Jose. So anyways, but it says, hey, I have a check that I cut for you on September 14th, 2017 that is still outstanding. I mean, obviously you can read for yourself. If you would email me or call me with your current address, I can reissue the check. Now, with that, this happened the next morning after speaking with her. And when we hung up, she hung up a little bit sad. I told her, I go, I'm going to try to teach you how to manifest this, right? I want to teach you how you have the power within you to make these things happen. She was a little bit saddened by the fact that was just, she goes, how's this story going to help me? I was trying to raise her vibration, right? To believe that. Now, two things. One thing you might say, well, River, you changed you worked on yourself, and because you changed the core, you were able to change the number, the electrons, and the way they attract things, right? True. And this is, leave comments, because I don't have it all figured out, but I like to share this as I'm figuring it out, right? But this is what happened the next day. Let's see if I could bring this up to you guys. Let's see. So the next day, there is the check. Not the next day. This actually happened after the email, probably a couple days later after I responded. I got that check. So it goes to show that, brings me to point number 3, that objects have atoms too. People are like atoms too, and have atoms, right? We have trillions of them. So I vibrated in alignment with this check, and aligning with the atoms of that check. To take it one step further, it wasn't, aligning with it brings it from being an abstract idea to making it something tangible. And aligning with that energy is so important. This is why personal transformation has to happen within the way a atom is changed in its element, by changing the number of protons. And again, that could only happen in an extreme condition like a nuclear reactor. And unless you know something that I don't know, because I'm not a physicist, right? Or like an extreme place like the sun. And if that's going to happen, then that's the extreme stuff that we go through to make that change ourselves. So very important, And it's not just that people are made of atoms, everything is, right? So objects have atoms too. Once you become aware of that, you start to realize that even something that is not an object that is alive, like a check, it wants to still come to you. But it can only come to you through people, right? Because a check cannot jump into a mailbox to get to you. A person needs to send it to you. So you need to align to that vibration where somebody can reach you. I'm telling you, this is something that I've had so many experiences. And as you stick around in this channel, you're going to see all the different ones that I have. I get animated. Sorry about that. I do get excited about talking about this stuff. But so moving on, remember that objects have atoms too. So this is why we need to make sure we vibrate correctly. And so here I want to talk about how to supercharge things to you. And number one is you're going to manifest through transformation. It is an intense process. So I took some notes here. And so transforming our subconscious mind is the deep and powerful work. Making that effort to go within, to shift our core beliefs, we change everything about how we experience the world. And because now an atom that is a gold atom experiences the world differently than a hydrogen atom, because it's attracting in that realm. So think about it. A gold atom has to attract itself to people that can handle that atom, that gold atom itself. So that means that a person needs to vibrate correctly for that, to be able to handle that too, right? And so that is another thing we need to just become aware of. So yes, transformation is powerful. It is deep. It is a lot of work, but it's the most rewarding thing, because the only way to get those things to come to you, to attract to you, is by changing the core. By changing the core, you also change the exterior, which in this case, like of an atom, would be the electrons, right? So manifestation is all about matching your energy to what you desire. In my story, I wasn't actively trying to manifest a check. I was simply telling a story that got me excited, and that excitement elevated my vibration. So that feeling of joy and the possibility of receiving that check aligned me to achieve receiving a check myself. And it shows that when we align our emotions and energy with what we want, we can bring those things into our reality in surprising ways that are out of our comprehension. Our job is not to figure it out. I didn't even know I had a check coming. I had no idea. And when I got that email, I was surprised, and but I was excited because I believe the universe wants to show you how powerful you are, but you have to let it show you. You just aligning by transforming yourself, you will start to receive those things, good or bad. Good or bad. Let's get good stuff, right? why get the bad stuff? So determine, and I put this at the last one. You manifest through personal transformation, changing your core. You manifest through, once you do the personal transformation, you manifest through vibration, attracting those things to you, right? And also, I wanted to let you know, and I want to talk about this, that you determine how you're going to interact with things by your core transformation, and your determination to change your core will bring about the way your life starts to transform. I've been on this path for now, I don't know, 9 years. And I decided to finally make this channel. I always felt like I needed to learn more. But eventually I was like, you know what? I just have a lot of information that I need to share with people, because I feel like people sometimes are more visual like myself. I'm a very visual person. So understanding and seeing things like this helps me to begin to change the way I see things. It'll allow me to bring those things to me in a way that's effortless, because I now am vibrating at my core essence with those things. So I figured by changing the essence, of who I am, I'm able to bring those things to me, allow them to see me, allow them to come to me effortlessly. And that's the goal here. That's the goal. So, yes, thank you so much for joining me on this journey with this episode. Again, here it is, episode 3, Atoms and Our Subconscious. If you enjoyed this episode and you're enjoying this content, please share this content with your friends and family. Like, share, and subscribe, because that's the way this stuff moves me up in the algorithm. And I just want to bring you positive content as much as I can. My goal is to see every one of you achieve effortlessly the things that you want, because you effortlessly are that person. And then at that point, the reason I say effortlessly is because at that point you're just attracting, right? You're not trying to do things anymore. You change your essence of who you are. Things in that essence and that vibration will come to you. And that's what I want to see all of you achieve in your life. And so, like I said, comment, share, and like, and I'll see you on the next episode, everyone. Have a great one.